Okay, so today, if you want to turn to page 66 in your student workbook, since we weren't able to meet yesterday, we're going to go over the must-do problems. So if you were able to complete those yesterday, we're going to check them today. And if you have any mistakes, we'll use this time to fix them. So we're going to be working on lesson 13, and we're going to start on page 66. Okay, and we switch gears and we started subtracting this week. Now, before we begin, what are some general rules about subtraction? What are things that we always want to keep in mind when we're subtracting? What you always have to have on top? The bigger number or the smaller number should be on top?
The greater number.
Yeah, the bigger number.
The greater number. And if you had to define subtraction, how would you define it? So when we add, we're putting things together. What are we doing when we're subtracting?
We're taking things away.
Very good. So just like when we added, we're going to do the must-do problems on page 66, which are F, G, H, number 2, and number 3. So we're going to start with letter F, which is 6,025 minus 3,502. And I would like to start this one by using a place value chart. So the first thing, I'm going to go turn off one set of lights, but I want you to think about how we would use discs in this chart to show 6,025. There we go. Now we have less of a glare. Okay, so on my chart, I want to show the number 6,025. So I'm going to start my thousands place. Ignoring this comma right now, I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 thousands. I do not have any hundreds, but I have 2 tens and 5 ones. So right now in my chart, I have shown the number 6,025. Now, since we're subtracting, we're not going to add. We're not going to add to this chart, but we're going to take away. And we're going to start over in the ones place. So the number that we're taking away is 3,502. So I have a 2 in the ones place. So I'm going to take away 2 of my ones. In my tens place, I have a 0. So I'm not taking anything away from these 2 tens. On my bottom number, I have 5 in the hundreds place. But I have a problem right here. I don't have anything in the hundred place. So anyone have any idea what I can do so that I am able to take 5 away from this place?
So what you're going to do is you're going to go over to 6,000, make it a 5,000, and then...
Okay, so I'm going to take one of these away, and I'm going to actually, I'm not taking it away completely. I'm going to trade it in. So I'm going to take away this 1,000, Peyton, and this 1,000 gives me how many hundreds?
And then make the what? 10 hundreds.
1, 2,
which is equivalent to 1,000.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so all I did was I took one of my thousands and I unbundled it and made it 10 hundreds. So now can I take away 5 hundreds? Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now in my thousands place, I need to take away 3. And I have 5, so I can take away 1, 2, 3. Now, to go back and find my answer, I'm just going to go back and count how many discs are remaining. So in the ones place, I have 1, 2, 3 discs. In the tens place, I have 1, 2 discs. In the hundreds place, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 discs. And in the thousands place, I have 1, 2 discs. making what my answer?
2,553.
Say that one more.
2,523.
Thank you. So now in my student workbook, under letter F, I'm going to write 2,523. Okay, so that was an example using our place value chart. For the next one, we're going to use the traditional method of subtracting. Do you have any questions about letter F or the place value chart? Okay, let's go ahead and move on to letter G. So when we add, which place value when we subtract, should we start over here in the 10,000s place or should we start in the ones place?
You should start in the ones place.
Okay, so I have 0 minus 0. So if I have 0 and I'm taking away 0, what do I have left? 0. Anything minus 0 is itself because I'm not taking anything away. So if I have 4 and I take away 3, what's left? 4 minus 3.
1.
6 minus 6.
0.
0.
3 minus 4.
You can't.
You can't do that. So we're going to go
Very
over to the
good.
2, make it a 1, and then make the 3 a 13, and then it'll equal 9.
Very good. So since the top number is smaller, I'm going to trade. So I'm going to take one of those 10,000s away, and I'm giving the thousands place 10,000s. So this becomes a 13. So 13 minus 4 is what?
9.
And 1 minus 1?
0.
So since that's my first number, I'm not going to include the 0. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, comma, and I'm going to read my final answer as 9,010. If I wanted to check this and I did not have a calculator, how could I use addition to check my subtraction problem? Does anyone know?
All you gotta do is add 9,010 to 14,630.
Very good. So to check, I would add my answer, 9,010 plus 14,630 to see if we got the number that we started with. So that's a good tip in case you do not have a calculator. Okay, moving on to letter H. Starting in the ones place, 5 minus 5 is 0.
0.
2 minus 1.
1.
9 minus 8.
1.
1 minus 4.
You can't do that. So you're gonna
My 3 becomes
3, make it a 2, and then
I'm going to give 10 to my 1. So my 1 becomes an 11. Now can I do 11 minus 4?
yes.
And for those of you who aren't very fluent with your subtraction facts yet, one suggestion I have is to count up. So I already have 4, so then I would count up to 11. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That gives me 7 fingers. 2 minus 0 equals?
0.
Whoop, not 0. If I have 2 and I take away nothing.
2.
2. There we go. And then 4 minus 2 equals?
2.
Then I'm going to put my count 1, 2, 3 places, add my comma. And what is my final answer, Sophia, for letter H?
227,110.
Very good. Okay, do you have any questions about those subtraction problems?
Nope.
Okay, for the next part, it says to draw a tape diagram to represent each problem. Use numbers to solve and write your answer as a statement. Check your answers. Now, every time that it tells you to draw a tape diagram, we're not going to draw them every time. They're a great way to model a problem, but we're not going to do them every time. I'm more worried about you being able to solve. But a tape diagram is a great way to show that you understand visually what a subtraction problem looks like. So for this one, we are going to show a tape diagram. A tape diagram is another name for a part whole diagram that you probably used in second grade, where you are adding a part to get your whole. This is just doing the opposite. What number must be added to 18,875 to result in a sum of 25,884? So if I go ahead and draw my empty domino, I know that my sum means my total. And I'm going to split my domino in half. I know that the sum, the total of both of these needs to be what? What's my total?
25,884.
So I'm going to make my curly bracket, connect my two dominoes, and I know my total is 25,884. I know the amount of one of my add-ins right here. So I'm going to make one of these blocks be worth 13,875. And this block is missing. So I'm going to make it we'll do a letter M for my variable. So this is telling you that 13,875 plus M equals 25,884. Since we're practicing subtraction, what could we subtract to figure out what M is? So remember, we want to start with our whole. What is our whole? What's the whole?
25,884.
Okay, so I'm going to write that to the side, making sure my numbers are neat, spread apart appropriately. And I'm going to take away the part that we have. What do we know?
13,807.
So we're going to take away the one part. Now we're going to subtract these. I start my ones place, 4 minus 5. I know I can't do that because if I have 4, I only have 4. You can't take away 5. So I'm going to go to my 8. I'm going to take 1 away, and that becomes a 7. And then I'm going to unbundle those. So I'm adding 10 to that 4 to give me 14. 14 minus 5 equals 9.
9.
7 minus 7 equals
0.
8 minus 8 equals
0.
0.
5 minus 3
2.
equals
2.
2 minus 1 equals
1.
2. 1.
There you go. 1, 2, 3, comma. So then we see how should we label this? What number must be added to 13,875 to result in a sum of 25,884? Here's my total. And my answer is only supposed to be a number. So we don't have to write a unit because our answer is the actual number, 12,009. Do you have any questions about number 2?
Nope.
Okay, let's go ahead and turn to page 67, and we're going to look at number 4. During the month of March, 68,025 pounds of king crab were caught. If 15,614 pounds were caught in the first week of March, how many pounds were caught in the rest of March? So in this problem, we want to know that in March, 68,025 pounds of king crab were caught. 15,614 pounds were caught in the first week of March. We want to figure out how many pounds caught in the rest of March. Does anyone have an idea what we would do to solve?
We could subtract 15,614 from 68,025.
Okay, so what number would be on top?
68,025.
We're going to start with our whole. That's the total amount of pounds that were caught. We're going to take away the first week of March, making sure all of our numbers are lined up in the correct place value. Our ones are lined up, our tens, hundreds, thousands, and 10,000s. We're going to take away how many pounds were caught the first week, which will leave us with what was caught the rest of the month. 5 minus 4.
1.
2 minus 1.
1.
0 minus 6.
You can't do
Impossible.
that. So you
Right.
So
We
they-
can't take
cross out the 0, make it a 10, and then cross out the 8 and make that a 7.
10 minus 6.
4.
7 minus 5.
2.
6 minus 1.
5.
5.
1, 2, 3, comma. Does this answer have a unit?
Yes. Pounds of king crab.
Pounds. You could put pounds, or if you can continue and put pounds of king crab. Either one works. And then remember, you always want to go back and make sure your answer makes sense. So this number is smaller than my total, which makes sense because I know that this much was caught the first week of March. So I know 15 plus about 50, 65, if I'm estimating, and that's close to 68. So I should be confident in this answer. Okay, so those were the must-do problems that you guys were to do yesterday. Do you have any questions about any of those? It's a nice review of subtraction. It's probably been a while. We're going to continue to build on this. We're going to be using bigger numbers. You're going to also need to be estimating and subtracting and making sure that your actual answer is close to your estimate. And then we're going to be moving into multi-step problems where you're going to have to be expected to read the question, figure out what you need to do to solve, and do more than one thing to solve. So that's where we're moving with all of this. Okay, so today, your job was to finish up lesson 13, and then you do have lesson 13 homework today, which is on pages 68, 69, and 70 in your student workbook. So please work on those. If you have any questions, send me a message. And then please send me those 3 pages when you're finished with them today.